So just over a week ago, I brought you my top 10 sets of 2020, and as promised, I said that we were going to take a look at the bottom end of the pile. Here is my worst 10 sets of 2020. So Rich here, welcome back to another Brick Scene video. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. If this is your sort of thing, hit that like button too. And please feel free, like I always say, comment below, disagree with me, tell me what you think. Give me your worst 10 sets of 2020. I'm really interested to hear what you think. So without further ado, let's get into it. So coming in at number 10, I have Main Square. Look, a city set is not something I would normally pick on, but when you throw a price tag on it like they have, I think that you're opening yourself up for criticism. What was wrong with this set was that you got a whole lot of nothing. Nothing was interconnected. There was nothing there that sort of told a story as such. Sure, you could probably make a little story out of one of the little models, but they all just lacked any detail whatsoever. For that sort of money, you know, you just expect a little bit more. You're talking UCS prices, you're talking modular prices, you're talking, you know, you're talking big set prices here that you just, I don't know, I felt that you were just getting a whole lot of nothing. The facades were shallow, the details within the buildings were lacking. You know, the car, the train, the helicopter, you know, they're probably all nice little builds, but they're just very, very simple for the price tag that you're paying. Then we come to the picture on the box, where you've got that tram sitting up on a monorail. Now, I saw some people getting excited thinking that we were actually going to get some sort of monorail there. I mean, I didn't think that we were going to get that, to be honest, but look, it just doesn't work. It's just not right, you know? Why would you have a tram up that high on a monorail track? Yeah, I don't know. This one just carries such a big price tag that it opened itself up for some criticism, and for me, it's definitely one of the worst sets of 2020. Coming in at number 9, I have Jay's Cyber Dragon. A bit of a personal story on this one. I released a review on this back in March, and as soon as I released it, my subscriber count started going down and down and down and down, and I just thought, what am I doing? I actually pulled the video to stop the rot. So from a personal point of view, yeah, it didn't do well for me. So that's essentially why it's made this top 10 list, because it sticks in my mind as definitely one of the worst sets as voted by the people, so it seems. But also, it was just a bit of a weird one. I don't know, but this whole wave of Ninjago, this whole video game style wave, I thought was just a bit weird. So there's some nice parts in there, don't get me wrong, but a poorly executed set. That's not a very good dragon. You know, there's definitely been better dragons from Ninjago, and coupled with the whole weird theme going on, that's why it makes my top 10 at number 9. Now coming in at number 8, and this may be a controversial one, I have got the Colosseum. Bear with me on this, bear with me on this. Of course, this is now LEGO's largest set at over 9,000 pieces, and it has knocked the Millennium Falcon off its perch, but it had to be that big. It had to have that many pieces in order to give it any sort of detail that would have been passable as the Colosseum. So despite it being LEGO's largest piece count, it's not the biggest set. It's just a little bit more detailed. But could you imagine the set, even if it had, you know, 2,000, 3,000 less pieces, it simply would not look right. It would not look good. And in order to be part of this big creator expert line, it has to have that detail. It has to pass as a serious build, as a seriously, you know, big set with a lot of detail. So as far as 9,000 pieces go, it had to be. LEGO putting more and more pieces into sets these days that I can see that record getting smashed again pretty soon. But also, you know, from the people that I've been talking to, and there's only a couple that have actually really wanted this set, maybe one or two that have gone out and bought it, but a lot of people, and we're talking about, you know, the target market here, the adult fan, the people with that disposable income, there's just not that many people that I know that really, really want this set. Even at a discount, they're probably not going to pick it up. So I think it's just a bit niche. It's going to take a certain person to buy it. It's going to be, you know, a big purchase for someone who's really into these type of sets. But as far as, you know, people picking up a set on a whim when they're feeling a bit flush, this is not going to be it. So I think it's going to sit around for a while. You know, I think there's just a few things that are going against it, and that's why it gets my number 8. Now in at number 7, I have got Sesame Street. This may be a controversial one for some as well, but I was really looking forward to this one when it was announced. And look, given its size and given the piece count that they were going to give to it, or, you know, the size of the model, probably why people either love it or they hate it. It's got the characters that they really like, or it's missing their favorite characters. You know, personally, I would have liked to have seen the Count in there. There's a couple of other characters I like to see in there as well. Some of the characters they put in, I really like. I like some of the minifigs. I like some of the details. But the buildings, you know, that one on the left there just feels a little unfinished as well. So that coupled with the fact that they were never going to be able to please everyone with the amount of figs that they were going to put in this, unless they made it a huge piece count, you know, very expensive set, which would turn it into a completely different thing. So they were never going to please everyone with this one, and unfortunately they didn't please me neither, and that is why it gets my number 7. Now coming in at number 6, and I appreciate this may even be a controversial one for some people as well, but I've got the Technic Osprey. Now this is not down to the set itself. The set does, you know, allegedly have its problems of course, but this is to do with the way the release was handled. The way this was put out onto shelves. We managed to get some in hand, take them up to the counter. They couldn't sell them to us, and then overnight an announcement went out from Lego that they could sell them, and then next thing you know, you've got the scalpers going absolutely mental, and these things then end up selling for a pretty penny on your local marketplaces. I just think the way it was handled was extremely poorly. It has divided parts of the community in the way that some people have managed to get their hands on them and then sell them off at a profit. You know, it's just really driven a wedge into some spaces of the community, and it's left a nasty taste in some people's mouths. So that's why it gets my number 6, not necessarily because of the set, but due to the way that the release was handled. So in at number 5, I have got the entire line of these Lego sketches. I don't like them one bit. I thought they were terrible looking things. The kind of thing that you see in sort of Lego ideas books, you know, these ideas on things to make. Not something that I feel that should be sold as a set on its own. And, you know, true to it, I don't actually know anyone that has bought one of these, not even on a discount. For me, it's a miss from Lego. I see they're actually going to release some more, so there's obviously a market for them, but I am certainly not that market. So coming in at number 4, I have got Dom's Dodge Charger from the Fast and Furious movies. I was so looking forward to this. When I heard that it was announced, or I think they released some teaser shots at one point, I was like, oh, awesome, this is going to be great. But then the publicity photos came out, and even those looked okay as well, you know. But then, you know, the release came out, and you saw some pictures of it on the box, and, you know, some of those media photos, or those publicity photos that they put out. And look, I started to turn on it. When I saw it in person, I really turned on this. To me, it just looks like it's already been in the accident that it goes through. If anyone's seen the movie, spoiler alert, the Charger ends up in a pretty nasty accident. It's just all the holes in these Technic panels. To me, it just looks beaten up and it doesn't look that great. You know, this car was a showpiece. It was a really nice car. So to see all these gaps and holes, etc., look, it just doesn't do it for me. This thing would have definitely been better as a brick-built model. And, you know, hey, you know, we can hope for one in the future. I don't think it'll ever happen, but I don't know. This was a bit of a miss for me. Maybe it was because I was so excited about it, you know, and I felt let down when I actually saw it in hand. But yeah, not for me, not for me. Big miss, and that's why it gets number 4. So coming in at number 3, I have got the entire Super Mario line. I just didn't get this product at all. You know, whether it's meant to appeal to kids, you know, to get the kids into Super Mario, it just did not have longevity as far as I'm concerned. My kids played with it for about 5 minutes and then picked up an iPad and played Super Mario on that instead. If this is to appeal to the adults, I can't see a bunch of adults sitting around bouncing a little Mario figure along the table in this little Lego setup that they've done. I just don't know where the market is for it. Look, some of the models were quite nice display pieces, I'll give it that, but if that was the aim of it, then why not make some detailed sets to appeal to the adults? And same with minifigs, make some minifigs as well. They may well be in the pipeline, I don't know. But as far as I was concerned, this Super Mario stuff was a big miss for me. I just didn't understand the market that they were going for with it. Hey, that could be me, I appreciate that, but that's why it gets my number 3. So coming in at number 2, and this is going to be no surprises for some people, I have got the Night Buzzard, or the Knights of Ren transport ship, or whatever they called it. But first, let's get this out of the way. Look, I understand that maybe from the artwork that Lego were given, that they thought that this thing was going to be some sort of land speeder. That could be the only excuse they could possibly have for this, because you cannot physically get any of the minifigs inside the ship at all, because of that lack of space inside the ship. Now, the thing was, when this was announced, I was really excited about it, but I also saw the price tag that it was going to be released at, and that had me concerned because it was cheaper than, you know, an X-Wing or something like that. And I'm thinking, hang on a second, This is not going to be a very big piece count. It's not going to be very big. I'm a bit concerned that it's going to be quite a small scale. And look, I reckon they could have even bumped it up to something the size of that ITS transport, or even like that Resistance Troop transport that we got a couple of years back after The Force Awakens. You know, something that size that had a bit of internal space in order to put your minifigs in there, because this was, after all, the ship that the Knights of Ren flew around in. But even aesthetically, it has one angle that it looks good from. If you turned that thing around and looked at the back of it, it just looked empty underneath there, that kickstand type thing hanging down at the back there. To me, it just looked awful. Huge miss, huge fail, and that is why it gets my number 2. Yes, it is the Manchester United Stadium, Old Trafford. This is a really, really odd one for me. Not just because I despise the team, but because it's 10 years too late. Manchester United are not the team that they used to be. The fans have all moved on to Liverpool now. So where the market is, I'm not entirely sure. Now, much like the Colosseum, this is not a set that someone's just going to pick up on a whim. You're either going to be a big fan of Manchester United, or you're going to be a fan of Creator Expert sets. But even then, this one is really odd in comparison to some of the others that we've had. Now, in my opinion, I think LEGO should have gone for an international stadium, maybe looked at something like the old Wembley Stadium, because I'm a big football fan and I would have bought a more internationally renowned stadium, something that we maybe all have memories of at one point. I'm not too sure, but you know, doing Old Trafford was a really polarizing move. You're only capturing a certain section of the football fans and a certain section of the AFOL market. It's just a really, really weird one. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd like to build it. I'd like to build it to see what it's like to build a stadium like that, on that scale and that type of model. But, you know, it looks flimsy. I've heard that it falls apart when you pick it up, and all those bits around the top just look like they get knocked off really, really easily. I don't know. If they make more of these stadiums, maybe it'll become a thing, but I think this is just to do with the licensing between LEGO and Manchester United. Like I say, 10 years too late. Not the team that they were, and definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, my worst set of 2020. So yes, Old Trafford definitely head and shoulders above any other set of 2020 as far as my worst goes. Look, comment below, let me know what you think. Give me your worst set of 2020. I'm keen to hear what you think. If you haven't already, like I said as well, hit that subscribe, that like button, all those good things. I will see you on the next one. Thank you. Cheers.